I just start by drinking.
And we are live. Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Viking Arms, the special Viking Arms this evening, because we're the after party. I don't know if we're the after party or if that was just the warm-up act.
We might have him back next year.
Yeah, he did very well.
Very good.
It was, in fact, it was brilliant. So if Mrs. Green, I don't think she's watching because I think she might be, let's say, relaxing after producing such a brilliant prize giving live. But she did a tremendous job with all of that production. I'm sure you'll agree. So let's see who we've got. Who's first through the door this evening? The Mullet Gang are here and they are ready for this grand finale, although we've got more to tell you about that. It's the finale of the term, let's put it that way, but certainly not over for good. Some of you might be pleased to hear anyway. The Slovakovskis are back. Liz Quizerables, you're back again. And the Cliffs are here, the Gang of Four, Mrs. White, the Rapplemores are here, the Cordells are here, the McPhees are here, and I'm sure more are just scrambling through the door already. We've got loads of people. In fact, we had about 40 odd people, I think, waiting just to get in. So, you know, we hope that by giving you 15 minutes between prize giving ending and this starting, all that time, you've got an out of wee, you've got the tea, you know, you're all ready, you've got some nibbles, so you're ready to get quizzing. The Humphreys are here, the Bonans are here, the Tangs, the Lockwoods, all the usual names, all the regulars barreling through the door. The Farquhars are here, and the Bonand grandparents are here. We're very honoured to have the Bonand grandparents. The Strides are here, the Durcoops are here, the Fishers are here, the Scotchbrooks, and more still to come. So yes, very welcome back to all of you who are obviously our regulars. Good to have you here. The Baxters, the Brentons, Jeff Smith, welcome back. You weren't here last week. We did miss you. We took a register. You were absent. It's unauthorized.
There was no letter.
Yeah, we didn't have a letter from a mother or anything like that. So I don't know what your excuse is. The Kelletts are here. The Manly Wars are still making dinner. Wow, so we have a late one for you. The Mackie Peas are here. The Bradshaws, the Bikers are here. Welcome, Luke and family. And obviously, not only are you looking at this and going, wow, that's looking really special. They've got some nice decorations for the evening. But our regulars will notice I've got to share the camera tonight because producer Tam thought it would be a good idea for us to both be here. So it's nice. So look, there's more. Okay, it's normally it's just a waving hand. This is what the rest of producer Tam looks like. The McCarthys are here, the Passmores, the Shiplake Babes are all joining us tonight. Nice. The Beasleys are here, thank God. And who else we got? The Woods are checking in, tick, and the Weatherstons are here as well. So whilst people are still coming through the door, obviously, what can I say? You know, none of us really want to be here tonight, do we? I mean, it's the end of term. What should we be doing today? Well, you know, this morning I should have been in school at 7:30, sort of sorting out books and then giving them to the prize winners. Then we probably should have been having canapes on the front lawn. We should have been basically at Henny qualifiers, shouldn't we? We should be enjoying all of that. And of course, you know, to our leavers, what can I say? Well, you know, hopefully we can put something together for you next term, early next term, before you all go off to university and realise that there's cheap beer elsewhere. So yeah, hopefully we can have a leavers ball at some point in the near future. But instead, we will do our best to provide a simple gathering of friends as we celebrate the end of term, the end of the year, and of course you're all really, really welcome. We all know where the Viking Arms pub really is, but what time do you want us on the 4th of July? Well, we'll ask you about that. You've beaten me to it, Mr. Scotchbrook. We will come to that a little bit later. Team Coltis are here, they're checking in, and the Houghtons are here. So what have we got to go through? Yeah, also tonight we did say, you know, like we've tried, I don't know if you've noticed, you might not, but we've made a bit of an effort. We've dressed up and looking at prize giving as well. I'm pointing over there because the telly's over there. Loads of you are sending pictures into a speech day as well. We're not quite as big budget at the Viking Arms because being just a humble pub, a very humble pub, we're not as big budget. But if you do want to send us some pictures of how you've dressed up and how you're celebrating the evening, the email address will be coming up in the comments box there. And feel free to send us an email and you'll just get it sort of on a phone. So
shaky phone.
Good as anything. And if you have just been watching Speech Day as well, you know I like to give special shout-outs. And I'm going to give some special shout-outs this evening to people who I think are our regulars, who I think are joining us this evening, who definitely we saw just now watching the prize giving. So massive well done to Freddie Coltas, to Reese Ash, Patrick Kenny, Wallace Fisher, George Baker, James Lucking, Richard Wong, Noah Scotchbrook, Isaac Beasley, Sydney Banan, Rob Humphries. I hope I've covered all of our regulars there, but if anyone's feeling left out, let us know. We'll give you a shout out too. But well done for getting your prizes on what was obviously been quite a special and unique speech day.
I had a little cry.
Tam did have a little cry. We had to get the emergency tear tissues out. And I'm sure if you're a year 13 parent, it's quite emotional. You know, it's the end of your school days as well, isn't it?
But we resurrected the Malta Netball Tour group chat so we could check in with all of the year 13 girls, and we were all having a little bit of an emotional, I miss you.
Yeah.
And I do miss them. So if any of the year 13 girls are watching, I miss you very much. And year 12 girls too, I miss you as well.
You see, I don't get very emotional about this. And for those of you who know me quite well, you will know that I probably won't shed a tear about it. Having spent, well, this is my 12, I've just signed off 12 years at Shipley. You know, they come, they go. But I'm joking. We're going to miss you. We're going to miss you loads. The Coles, the Reese, the Colsons, the Smiths joint team are all here. Mrs. Rappel, as in Mrs. Rappel-Moore's mother, is here. Juliet Coles, you both look gorgeous. See?
Literally the most makeup I've had on since February, but thank you very much.
And Louise Rappel-Moore does confirm I do not get emotional about anything.
It's true.
So anyway, that's enough of introductions. I'm told we're going to have to do things a little bit differently this evening as well, because I've been told I'm not allowed to have anything to do with the general knowledge round. As you know, we tend to start with the general knowledge round. We're not doing that this evening. That will come in round 4. But all I know is that it's a special round and I've got nothing to do with it. So yeah, we'll see what Mrs. Settle has got in store. I'm slightly nervous, slightly tentative, but we'll see how we go. Right. Anyway, here are the rules. So if you are new, if you've just been watching prize giving and you've thought, oh, the Viking Arms, that sounds, well, I'll give that a go then. You know, I've already missed half of Gardener's World, so I might as well give that a crack. So here are the rules. There will be 4 rounds of 11 questions, where the 11th question is a chance for you to have a chat, make a list, and also let me know how you're getting on. We'll ask you some questions in between the rounds. Obviously, Mrs. Passmore, 10 answers only. The Shiplake Babes, you need to make sure that she sticks to that rule because she's kind of come out in the last few weeks as being a bit of a cheat. Answers, what can I say? It's the end of term. I might go a bit rogue. At the end, you'll count up your own. I'll give you the answers at the end. You'll count up your scores. Don't answer in the comments because that would just be really silly. And what else? I'll read each question twice. Try not to cheat. Try not to cheat. Enjoy yourselves. Talk to us via the comments box, but keep it clean because it's a family show. We've got students involved. We've got very elderly old Vikings involved. They don't want any big shocks tonight. And yeah, so I think we're about ready to go. We've got quite a few people still in the pub. A few people have just dragged themselves in. So if you have just come in, obviously,
we're getting heckled already from the crowd saying you should have got a prize
this evening for the Viking Arms because that's not a heckle.
Oh no, I thought you meant that we should be giving prizes out. Oh, you mean we should have got a prize? Well,
Leo, I've always liked you. I've always liked you. Okay, so yeah, the lessons are finished. You're all sick of Kahoot. Prize giving is over. So let's kick things off on this last evening of term with our quiz. And we're going to start with round 1. And this round is all about the River Thames. There's the theme. Round 1 is all about the River Thames. So, question number 1. The official source of the River Thames is in which county? The official source of the River Thames is in which county? And our regulars will also know that Mrs. Settle likes to correct me on my my speech sometimes, so I've had to practice that. It's not the source, it's the source. The official source of the River Thames is in which county? The Kennys are checking in. Good. Okay. I shall tick you off on the register.
So question number 2. The Thames Path is the longest riverside walk in Europe, but how long is it? Is it 164 miles, 174 miles, or 184 miles? So that's the Thames Path is the longest riverside walk in Europe, but how long is it? 164, 174, or 184 miles?
Yeah, Mr. Beasley gets where I'm coming from. No, it's not the HP source. It was a very confusing childhood for me. The source of the River Thames. Question number 3. What opened in 1982 and is predicted to be obsolete by the year 2030? What opened in 1982 and is predicted to be obsolete by the year 2030?
So I'll jump in with question number 4, and that is, who designed the Millennium Bridge in London? Who designed the Millennium Bridge in London?
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm very impressed that producer Tam, Mrs. Settle, isn't that beautiful? You know, I've been told that my voice is like honey dripping on the ears, but this, what a treat for this evening.
Again, maybe the first time I've spoken so much in a long time.
Question number 5. Which former poet laureate married in the church at Shiplake? Which former poet laureate married in the church at Shiplake? And obviously, you know, for any Shiplake students watching, this will be on the tip of your tongue, because we all know this. Someone really famous got married in the church. No, it wasn't us.
It wasn't us.
Well, we did, but it wasn't us. Who got married in the church of Shiplake, the poet laureate?
So number 6, which house overlooking the Thames was thrust into the spotlight during the perfumer affair? Which house overlooking the Thames was thrust into the spotlight during the perfumer affair?
That Mallet gang are saying this is not a good quiz night. We've just started.
Honestly, the
negativity,
started. Come
Do
on.
you know, isn't it interesting? It's always the moaners who actually write stuff. Anyway. Okay. Question 7. Which riverside town famously hosted the Huntley and Palmer biscuit factory? Which riverside town famously hosted the Huntley and Palmer biscuit factory?
I like a biscuit.
Although because this particular place was on some program earlier in the week, wasn't it? And it didn't look like they made very nice biscuits. World War I ration biscuits.
Some of the biscuits I feel were nice, but maybe not those ones.
Do you remember it?
How old do you think I am? I wasn't around in World War I. What are you talking about?
Well, I don't know when they shut down. I'm not. You know.
Should we leave it? Let's go to
okay,
question 7. No, 8. So question 8. Which lock separates the tidal Thames from the non-tidal Thames? Which lock separates the tidal from the non-tidal Thames?
Oh, there's a few people I think kind of going, oh.
If only I'd have looked at my river map before this started.
Could be a few. You probably know the region that it's in, but yeah. Where does the tidal Thames stop and where does the non-tidal begin? Question number 9. Toad, rat, mole and badger all feature in which 1908 classic by Kenneth Grahame? Now, I will read that one again, but if you've got children playing along, that's for them, okay? So they get to go first.
And also for my mum, she'll have got that one.
Toad, rat, mole and badger all feature in which 1908 classic by Kenneth Grahame? Mrs. Rapplemore having a bit of a flex because she got married in the same church where this particular poet laureate got married.
I mean, it's a good church. What can we say?
It's a very nice church.
So question number 10. In which town will you find the only suspension bridge to cross the non-tidal Thames? In which town will you find the only suspension bridge to cross the non-tidal Thames?
I'm getting some interesting comments coming through, but I'm not getting any pictures coming through on the phone. So actually, do remember, if you want to show us how you're celebrating, if you have dressed up smart for a change to celebrate this evening, then let us know. Email us.
I can't type in the box.
Oh, right.
Because now I'm not off the side doing comments. It's trickier.
Look, I promised this was going to be seamless tonight, you know, quite frankly. You need to back your ideas up. Okay. Well, the Scotch folks want to know what's in the glasses. Well, it's a very classy evening this evening. I think you can hold the tin up, actually.
It's that classy. We've got cocktails from tins. That's all I can tell you. This apparently is a La Martini, which seems to be some kind of apple gin mint confection. It's quite nice. I'm going with it.
Cool. Is it a baby shower? No. Probably, I don't know.
Right. They've just put it in a fancy tin. It's quite nice.
I'm just having straight up, just JD and Coke, just out of a tin. Question 11. This is a really classy do. As I say, Viking Arms is a bit low budget, really. Question 11. Between Lechlade and Kingston upon Thames, there are 10 towns or cities on the River Thames. Can you name them? And be really careful with this one. I don't obviously want little villages or anything like that. So I want places that are, think big, places which are identified as towns or cities on the River Thames between Lechlade and Kingston upon Thames. So it's quite a tricky one. And I'll be honest, we really struggled to think of name 10 things for this round, but give it a best shot. Towns or cities between Lechlade and Kingston upon Thames. Okay, and some of you keen beans will be frantically writing down your list of 10. Some of you would have lost interest after you've named about 2 or 3. So we've got something to tell you. We actually followed some of your recommendations this evening.
We did.
What did we do?
We had fish and chips from Orwell's.
Mr. Beasley, I went for the turbot. I thought he was just joining us in year 9 next year, but actually turbot is very nice. Turbot and chips. And yeah, so how are you enjoying your quiz night? What are you doing? What's special? Make us jealous. I love this bit where you tell us, what are you drinking? What are you eating? What have you made? So whilst you're trying to list the names of 10 towns or cities between Lechlade and Kingston upon Thames, what are you doing to celebrate this final evening of the term? And not just the final evening, but the 13th visit to the Viking Arms.
Oh,
let us know.
Me.
And whilst you're doing that, have we got any pictures coming through? Oh, yeah, there we go. The Farquhars are saying cheers. There's a little look of Mrs. Farquhar and her daughter photo there. Look, these are real people. These aren't just sort of random things turning up in the comments box. Thank you very much.
You're not bots. You're actually real. I love it.
The Parsons have sent us one. Just waiting for my Wi-Fi to kick in. So the Humphreys are having barbecue with Lucas Morgan and Pam. The Duercoops, they're having pizza, as always, for the pub quiz night. Not very celebrational, but we do have 2 more weeks to go until term ends here. Oh, dear. Oh, dear, oh, dear. One of the great things about coming to Shiplake, you're one of the first to break up. It's brilliant. Reasons to work at Shiplake, July and August.
Finish early.
So the Codses are having crispy duck and bubbly. The Coleses, and I guess their guests are having the green Thai curry made by the Smith family. Nice. High-tech Mr. Brown. Okay, we're getting comments through from the SLT, who are still at Shiplake, probably celebrating such a good prize giving. Still waiting for some more photos to come through. Anyone else got anything that they'd like to share with us this evening? How are you celebrating? I mean, we've told you what we're drinking. What have you got on the go? I think, as Mr. Beasley, are you still tucking into the Chateau Margaux?
Everyone's kicking back. We're done. We've made it.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to go on to round 2. Right. So, round 2. This is a round that we've called Where Am I? So it might sound like I'm feeling a bit lost. What can I say? 13 weeks of lockdown. It's the end of term. Yeah. We're going to give you some descriptions. And hold on. The Rappamore's having Nigella's chicken and chorizo tray bake. And Mr. Beasley, of course. Well done. Thank you very much. The McCarthys are having peanut butter popcorn and Pims, whilst all snazzed up for the quiz in the McCarthy household. And I guess these are the McCarthys. There we go. Oh, as I say, look.
Looking good, McCarthy.
Real people.
Nice
real people celebrating and enjoying the quiz. Thank you very much. Right, anyway, where am I? Round 2. Question number 1. In front of me is the Victoria Monument and Admiralty Arch. But what is behind me?
So many answers to that
In
question.
front of me is the Victoria Monument and Admiralty Arch. But what is behind me? And photographic evidence coming in from the SLT here at Shiplake. There we go. There's Mr. Brown, Mr. Jones, and Mrs. Green all celebrating the end of term.
Apparently
and
they had dominoes.
The quiz. What have we got? So, do you want to crack on with number 2?
It's quite off-putting. You're doing here in the corner. Anyway, question number 2. I am looking at a 12th century tower that's never been quite right. Where am I? I'm looking at a 12th century tower that's never been quite right. Where am I?
We've got a very unshaven Hayden Stride paying attention to the quiz there. So good luck with that. I think he's playing with his grandparents, actually, so I hope you're all going all right.
Oh, Hayden, by the way, your piece that came up in the artwork and photography montage was absolutely beautiful. We love that.
And the bikers all the way from, they're in Switzerland, but one up for the Welsh here. Okay. And that's how the bikers are celebrating with some brains.
Right.
Sorry, question 3. Question 3. I am standing beneath a neoclassical monument that was a symbol of freedom and unification in 1989. Where am I? I am standing beneath a neoclassical monument that was a symbol of freedom and unification in 1989. Where am I? And look, it's okay. I'm stalling through this, but there's the Shiplake babes. Okay, so this is Mrs. Passmore, Mrs. Brazil. I can't see there. That's Mrs. Morgan and Miss Young. They're all in the back garden having a nice meal and lots of booze by the looks of it. So enjoying yourselves. Nice to see you too.
Question number 4.
Question number 4.
I'm walking around Northern Ireland's first UNESCO World Heritage Site. Where am I? I'm walking around I can't speak now. I'm walking around Northern Ireland's first UNESCO World Heritage Site. Where am I? Oh, the excitement got to me.
Do you know, I'm in a generous mood. It's the end of term. Mrs. Coltas, you've got question 3 was, I'm standing beneath a neoclassical monument that was a symbol of freedom and unification in 1989. For question number 5, I'm looking up at a European monument that until 1930 was the tallest structure in the world. So where am I? I am looking up at a European monument that until 1930 was the tallest structure in the world. Now, Mrs. Passmore is saying, it's awful.
Does she mean the quiz?
Does she mean the quiz? Does she mean what she's eating, what she's drinking? Oh, the photo. The photo's awful. You clarify. Let us know.
So I'll hop on with number 6, which says, I am looking down 6,000 feet at the Colorado River. Where am I? I'm looking down 6,000 feet at the Colorado River. So where am I?
And I've got something that's just come in from most people's favourite on this quiz. I think probably second favourite person in the quiz apart from Wilson. This is Dr. Rosario with his lovely lady, not wife. Oh, not quite, maybe, or don't know. But it's Katie's birthday today, so happy birthday, Katie. Hope you're having a lovely day. The company's awful. Sorry about that, Mrs. Passmore. Choose your jobs, do your jobs and all that. So question number 7. I am walking 13,171 miles along a man-made structure. Where am I? I am walking 13,171 miles along a man-made structure. Where am I? Poor Mrs. Passmore.
It's a shame.
I know, it is a shame. She's such a lovely lady, and she has to spend the last evening of term with that lot. Oh, God.
So question number 8. I've gone through Traitor's Gate, and I'm now trying to avoid the ghosts and the ravens. Where am I? So I've gone through Traitor's Gate, and I'm now trying to avoid the ghosts and the ravens. Where am I?
Home. Question number 9. I am standing outside 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Where am I? What am I looking at? I'm standing outside 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Where am I?
And question number 10. I'm looking at a landmark that's capped by an 11th century castle and trying to spot some bluebirds. Where am I? I'm looking at a landmark that's capped by an 11th century castle and I'm trying to spot some bluebirds. Where am I?
Now, the second part of this round, again, sort of based on where we are or place names, and we know how much you really enjoyed one of the previous rounds on lyrics.
Where you read them and it was vaguely disturbing.
Yeah. So I'm not going. Well, I don't know. They're not. I'm going to read out. Are they the names of songs? They are the names of songs, aren't they?
They're the titles, aren't they? They're song titles.
Right. I'm going to read out some song titles, but I'm going to miss out a word, a place, and you've just got to tell me where it is. Okay. So let's see how we go. Question 11 starts like this. So the first part. Do you know the way to? We can't do that for all 10 of these. That would just be ridiculous. Do you know the way to? And that's by Dionne Warwick. So what is that? Where to? Do you know the way to? No.
But it seems to make sense.
The second one. Rainy night in. Rainy night in. And that's by Randy Crawford. I have to give you the artist because obviously, you know, there could be different.
That would make all the difference.
Rainy night in. Part C, we'll call this. I left my heart in. I don't know if that got picked up on the microphone, and I really apologise if it did. But as I just said, I left my heart in. The dog decided to do a very loud fart. So apologies for that if that came through a bit too loud. I left my heart in. By Tony Bennett. Slough. I left my heart in by Tony Bennett. Leo, don't worry. As always, Leo, you're always asking about Wilson. Wilson will make an appearance, but we just had to put him away for a moment because he's absolutely wrecking the place before we came on camera. Part D. Viva.
Slough.
Slough. I'll say the word slough instead of going like I'll just say slough. So replace the word slough with the right name. So Viva Slough by Elvis Presley.
Brilliant.
Part E.
E's even funnier.
Sweet Home Slough by Lynyrd Skynyrd. Sweet Home Slough by Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Excellent round.
Part F, Slough Fair by Simon and Garfunkel. Slough Fair by Simon and Garfunkel. If you've lost the plot like we have, remember you're trying to replace the word or the name Slough with where we actually want. And part G, we want a Slough Minute. A Slough Minute by Don Henley.
This round could now become its own programme. This is excellent.
This will get better, as well. Promise. I hope. Part H, Slough Dreaming by the Mamas and Papas. Slough Dreaming by the Mamas and Papas. Part I, Slough Town by UB40. Slough Town by UB40.
I want to see this all over Twitter. Replace the song word with slough.
And final one here, the 10th one in this set, Slough Sunset by the Kinks. Slough Sunset by the Kinks.
Brilliant.
So, thank you very much for that. Sid is offended. He was born in Slough. And that's on his passport for life. Well,
it's something to be proud of.
But we should be listening to Mr. Beasley. You know, he's saying that Slough is actually
ambassador for Slough. A
really nice place. So, you know, all those times I asked Sid to lock the doors when we went in the minibus to Eton, I was wrong. I take it all back. It's delightful. Now, before we move on to the third round, and a bit of a sort of a preempting the third round here. This is not the final Viking Arms.
And we know we did make someone cry. about that this
Yeah,
might be
so
a final one earlier. So it's not, we promise, no need for tears.
Yeah, we have to make this announcement because we don't want tears, and we have some people who are really upset. So this is not the final Viking Arms. We are going to run some Viking Arms quizzes during the summer. We're not going to do next week because we feel we want a bit of a break, but we will try and do a few over the summer holiday. And all we would say is just keep looking at the Shiplake Facebook account or the Shiplake Twitter. We'll put it up on social media when we are going to do it, but we'll try and do it every 2 or 3 weeks, maybe. Maybe we'll just look out for when the weather's going to be particularly bad. But
so you can't go to the pub.
We'll try and do a few Viking Arms quizzes over the summer. So watch this space. We're also really hoping that perhaps more in August time, we can do the Viking Arms live. So we've still got visions of, you guys picnicking on the lawn outside Skipwith House and doing the quiz that way. So again, you can actually see each other rather than just, you can heckle us from the lawn. I think that'd be...
No, there's to be no heckling. I might have to put some rules in about heckling.
I just think it'd be nice for us to all come together. So hopefully we'll be able to do that in August. Again, we will let you know more when we have worked it out.
When the government changed the rules, let's be fair.
Yeah. So we'll give you the information, but just please don't start crying.
No crying.
Because this is not the end of the Viking Arms. Now. That leads us having spoken about the summer, that leads us really nicely onto our third round, which is the Great British Summer, something that we're all missing out on apart from the weather. So again, we thought we would just
make it worse
by reminding you all. And just before I do, and I think this sort of sets up the Great British Summer as well. This has just come through from the Bonanza. This is how a family celebrates. Look at that. How professional. That I'm pretty sure I haven't just seen that on Pinterest either. That has actually come from the Bonanza back garden. That is how they're celebrating their final quiz of the term. Right, the Great British Summer. So question number 1. How many grass courts are there at Wimbledon? Are there 16, 17 or 18? How many grass courts are there at Wimbledon? Are there 16, 17 or 18?
And question number 2. When attending the royal enclosure at Ascot, would a gentleman be allowed to wear brown shoes? When attending the royal enclosure at Ascot, would a gentleman be allowed to wear brown shoes?
And we had to check that one on the rules, didn't we?
We did have to look it up.
Because I'm pretty sure I know some people who have tried to sneak in. I've said too much. With the wrong colour shoes on. Anyway, let's move on to question 3. The Chelsea Flower Show is held in the grounds of which famous London landmark? The Chelsea Flower Show is held in the grounds of which famous London landmark? I'm saying no. Done. Right. I'm off.
Back away.
I'm backing off.
So question number 4. If you were competing for the Thames Challenge Cup at Henley Royal, how many oarsmen are in your boat? If you are competing for the Thames Challenge Cup at Henley Royal, how many oarsmen are in your boat?
The rowers will get this, and for all you parents who go to Henley saying, yeah, I'll watch you race, and then end up being in the Forley bar for the whole time, this is really testing your knowledge, okay? So
dig out your programme, have a quick look.
How many people are listed in that programme under the Thames Cup? Question number 5. Which regatta is the largest of its kind in the world, organising 40 races daily for over 1,000 boats and about 8,500 competitors? Mr. Brown, in response to the rowing question, who cares? Oh, Mr. Brown.
Mr. Brown, I genuinely thought over the last few weeks you'd come round to the whole joy of rowing. And I don't know what to do. I
just hope that he'd come round. Question number 6 is all you.
It's me. When indulging in afternoon tea, in which county would the jam go on the scone first, followed by the cream? When indulging in afternoon tea, in which county would the jam go on the scone and then the cream?
So the next one, this is a gift for the Bonanza, or I know a regular attendees for this. Question 7. Which English country house has hosted an annual music festival since 1934? Which English country house has hosted an annual music festival since 1934?
Do the bananas go in the mosh pit? There's no moshing. There's literally no moshing here, I think.
So, I don't know. I reckon Jessica gives it a good go.
So question number 8. Which sport is played on Smith's Lawn at Windsor Great Park? Which sport is played on Smith's Lawn at Windsor Great Park?
Okay, and question number 9. Which event is the world's oldest open submission exhibition? You're nodding because it took me a while to read that one out earlier, and I've had a couple of drinks. So, which event is the world's oldest open submission exhibition? That's the question.
I felt like I
just got my intonation wrong.
sort of reading along with you.
The world's oldest open submission exhibition.
Yeah,
Okay.
too many rhyming, so it's quite difficult. And question number 10. Which summer event links Dolly Parton, Kylie Minogue and Willie Nelson? Which summer event links Dolly Parton, Kylie Minogue and Willie Nelson?
Little gift there for the Rapplemores, because at this particular event, I know the Rapplemores have spent years working there. So take that question as a thank you for all the times that you've contributed to this quiz. Question number 11. So what we want you to do for question number 11 is, can you name the last 10 winners of the men's singles championship at Wimbledon? So that's not just the last, sort of over the last 10 years. I want the names of the last 10 individual winners of the men's singles championship at Wimbledon. Do you think I've explained that well enough?
Well, you're not just writing down a couple of names sort of like 8 times, are you?
No.
You want 10 different
I want 10
names.
different names. The last 10 men to have won the singles championship at Wimbledon. Headmaster says, how are you supposed to know the answer when you don't understand the question? Oh.
Well, I don't know.
I don't know what to say. I just don't know. Okay. Whilst you're frantically thinking of your 10 winners of the men's singles championship at Wimbledon, so if that's not your cup of tea, you can talk to us in the comments box here. So thoughts are clearly already turning to the 4th of July. I believe Mr. Beasley was asking, was it Mr. Beasley who was asking? Or someone was asking earlier on about where is the Viking Arms so that we can actually open it on the 4th of July. What are you looking forward to being able to do on the 4th of July? What is the first thing on your agenda?
Haircut.
Not me. That wasn't me who said that, because obviously, I think your hair is looking really nice at the moment, actually.
You're only saying that because you had to give it an emergency trim earlier.
Yeah, I'm not actually sweating because it's warm in here. It's because my heart hasn't stopped racing from having to give. I mean, guys, help me out. If your wife asks you to give her a haircut, it's the scariest thing.
Well, anyone who knows me will know how short my hair was when we started lockdown, and it feels now like I haven't had this much hair for years.
But to be fair, people, some people watching this will never have seen.
Will never have seen.
They might have thought it was, shoulder length.
I have very short hair, and it's grown a lot.
The Cordells are Karen Cordell. She agrees with you. She wants the haircut. And actually, speaking of Karen Cordell, thank you so much for that lovely email. And there are the Cordells. Not quite. I'm just going to imagine this was them last year. So I'm going to imagine that's how you're all looking this evening as you're playing along with the quiz. The Scotch books are saying we'll be going next door to the 2019 British Country Pub of the Year. Where's that then?
Well, they don't want to tell us because then we'll know where they live. They probably don't want to be harassed.
Okay. Tom Shot, my mother has given me 2 bald patches by accident. To be fair, that's why that's why I had to go with this, because I just looked like some sort of beaten up cat. It was just, she hacked it.
I was very bad.
It all had to come off.
It's not my skill. Hairdressing is not for me.
Oh, dear. Right, Mr. Scotchbrook. So still, Mr. Scotchbrook. I still want to know where the British Country Pub of the Year is, because we might need to try that one out. But far enough away from Slough. Sounds perfect then. Sounds ideal.
It's now the place to be.
So what else is first on your agenda? I was speaking to Mr. Dix yesterday, actually, and we're thinking that at some point very soon, we both quite like riding our bikes. And we were just talking about how lovely it's going to be to go out riding our bikes and then just stopping off maybe at the best country pub in the country.
Shouting at Mr. Scotch.
Oh, just having that first beer in the garden.
I just want my haircut. I'm going with haircut.
Right. So we are going to move on to... now it says in my little script here, in fact, I've got some answers. I can see the answers to the questions, but it's a special round. It says here, this is a special round. Let Tam introduce it. Shut up, Keith. Right, okay.
It doesn't actually say shut up, Keith. He's just...
And it says nod and agree. Yes, okay.
Okay. Right, so question, this general knowledge round is a bit of a special one, because over the last 12, almost 13 weeks of quizzes, Mr. Settle has done an amazing job at being the landlord of the Viking Arms. So earlier in the week, I got in touch with a load of our regulars to ask them to submit questions for this round. But they didn't just submit questions, they also wanted to say thank you.
Yeah.
So this might be one of those dreadful sort of technological disasters.
I know you could go get a bucket.
You've got the tear tissue over there from speech day, so just hold on 1 second while I get the first question. And this one,
so like I said, this isn't high budget, so
it really isn't high budget, so you're just going to have to bear with me. But this is Mrs. Young.
Thank you so much for all the time and effort you've put into the quiz over the last 3 months. It's been one of the only ways to tell one day apart from the previous, so it's very much appreciated. My question is, local girl Agatha Christie is known to have sold over 1 billion books, but which of her titles has sold the most? Is it Murder on the Orient Express, The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, or And Then There Were None?
So I'm sure Patrick Kenny is going to mention the shaky hand because mine's going a little bit funny. But the question was, which of Agatha Christie's books has sold the most?
And the options were Murder of Roger Ackroyd,
Murder on the Orient Express, or And Then There Were None.
Thank you very much, Hayley. That's very sweet of you. Have I got to sit through 10 of these?
So hold on 1 second, because our next one has already started talking. Bear with me. It's not technical.
Good evening. Welcome to the Viking Arms. And before my question, I'd just like to thank Mr. Settle for being such a wonderful landlord of the Viking Arms, and of course his assistant. Friday nights have been absolutely fantastic and we've thoroughly enjoyed them. So Keith, thank you very, very much indeed. So my question, rather crafty mix, I think, of history and my other great love, rowing. My question is this. In the 1908 Summer Olympic Games, the rowing event, as you all know, was held at Henley-on-Thames. My question is, how many gold medals did the Great Britain crews win? Was it 2? Was it 4? Or was it 8? Good luck.
Oh, and Jessica Bernand, you might have seen the message pop up on my screen and said, nice nails. So excellent. Thank you, Jess.
They're not Mr. Brown's, yours.
Yeah, mine, not Mr. Brown's. We didn't see Mr. Brown's now, so they might be equally as
so well. Okay, so that question was, how many gold medals did the Great Britain rowers win in 1908? Was it 2, 4, or 8? Is that right?
2, 4, or 8.
Thank you very much, Mr. Brown. It's very kind of you. Oh, God,
Hello, Keith. Just to say, you're doing an absolutely fabulous job of the quiz. We've got a little treat for you. Question from me and a question from Reese. So start with mine. It's a two-parter. What was the name of Alexander the Great's horse? And what was it afraid of?
And for mine, when the Earth was a single landmass, what was it called?
Looking forward to seeing you on Friday.
One from the outgoing head of college.
Yeah, so the outgoing head of college has been a bit cheap. That's why. So I'm looking at the answer. I don't know why you think you get 3 questions, head of college. So that means that the total for tonight has suddenly crept up to 82 points. So the first question was, what was it? What was
Alexander the Great's horse called?
What was the name of Alexander the Great's horse?
And what was it?
Afraid of? And the second part of that was, when the Earth was had a single landmass, what was it known as?
Very sneaky.
Hopefully you all got that. So 3 questions in 1. Thank you very much as well. It's very kind of you. Oh, this is really annoying. I've got to be nice to people 10 times in a row. I hate this.
You can't keep talking.
Right,
because
okay.
now I have to do editing, and it's very difficult.
What kind of dog played Sirius Black in the Harry Potter film adaptation Order of the Phoenix?
So that was from the Mullet Gang. Which type of dog, and there was a clue in the video, played Sirius Black in Order of the Phoenix? Should we do the video again?
Yeah.
So they can get another clue from the video.
Yeah.
What kind of dog played Sirius Black in the Harry Potter film adaptation Order of the Phoenix?
That is a big dog,
It's
isn't
a
it?
big dog.
Gordo.
It's a big dog.
Gordo is massive.
Ready for the next one?
Hi.
Oh,
Hi.
look, please.
And massive thanks. Thank you so much for all the weeks and weeks of quizzing, which we have really absolutely loved in lockdown and beyond. Thank you. It's been really great, except for the answers, because we never did very well. But thank you so much for all the fun. And here is our question.
Yeah. Keith, in what year was Henley Regatta, later to be known as the Henley Royal Regatta, first held? Was it
1839, 1856, or 1869?
Thank you very much, McPhee's. Life's treating you well, George, I see there. Oh, no, it's fine. It's fine. So in which year did Henley Regatta start? Was it 1839, 1856, or 1869?
Yes.
Right. So which year did it start?
Ready for the next one?
Yeah. No, that's to George. Yeah.
Pay no attention,
You're great.
George. It's not nice. We'll have words afterwards. Next question.
Keith and Tam, thank you very much for organising the quiz over lockdown. It's kept us going and we've really enjoyed it every single week.
And the question is, what is the famous vertical rock face in Yosemite National Park that was featured in the film Free Solo and Dawn Wall?
So that was the Coles family, and their question was, what's the famous vertical rock face in Yosemite National Park that's been in various films? We'll go with various films.
Yeah. Looking very flash there, Coles family, on that lovely boat. And what is going on with your hair, Toby? Crikey.
He needs a hairdresser too. That's where Toby's going on the 4th of July.
I've heard stories about the plaits, the things that you've done to that hair. That is impressive. That's more than a top knot. That's like a beehive you've got going on there. Anyway, thank you very much.
Next question.
Good evening. Before we start the next question, I'd first of all like to say a big thank you to Mr. and Mrs. Settle for all their hard work over the last 3 months. You really have made Friday nights lots of fun, good family quality time together. The fact that we've been absolutely useless is another story, but thank you anyway. Here's my question for everybody. In which year did John Betjeman write his famous poem about dropping bombs on the most wonderful town where I come from? Slough. Was it 1937, 1947, or 1957? Which year did John Betjeman write the famous poem about dropping bombs on Slough? 1937, 1947, 1957. Thank you.
That was very professional from Mr. Beasley, because he repeated the question twice.
He's been watching.
That was
what can I say? He's not only a regular,
quizzing.
but he's a quick learner. Well, thank you very much. It's very kind of you.
Okay, and the next.
Just to add, I might be looking a bit awkward here because Mrs. Rapplemore will also be able to back this up. I don't get emotional, but also I find it really, really tough to be nice.
And then the next question.
Thank you, Mr. Settle, for all the amazing quizzes we've had since the start of lockdown. They've always been the highlight of our week.
Mrs. Settle, I'm really excited about netball starting again.
And our question is, between which two bridges on the Thames is the HMS Belfast currently moored?
Ooh. So between which two bridges is HMS Belfast currently moored? And that's why it says in the script here, you need both bridges to get the point.
That instruction came from Mrs. Coulter. She was very firm about needing both bridges to get your point.
I like that Juliet said that Toby will definitely be off to the Barbers on July the 4th. Does he know that? Is he aware?
Dragged.
And I think I've just got to share this with you as well. I don't think this is what they're doing now, but this is what So I only went as far as cutting Mrs. Settle's hair, but Mrs. Brazil, Mr. Brazil has been doing the old roots as well. I say the old roots, it's not that old, but get my meaning. So there we go.
Excellent work.
See, manpower, we can do this stuff. It's fine.
Okay, so question number 9.
Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Settle. Thank you very much for the amazing Viking quiz every Friday. It's been absolutely brilliant, and especially the fact I do like winning with an average of 80, 81. How I'm feeling, and Kate's feeling at that time. So my question to you, everybody, is: which Oscar-winning actor has starred in Thor: Ragnarok, Transformers: The Last Night, and Mission Impossible 2? So which Oscar-winning actor has starred in Thor: Ragnarok, Transformers: The Last Night, and Mission Impossible 2? Thank you.
More good quizzing there with a question repeated at the end. I like that.
It's very nice. It's very nice of Freddie Mercury to join us this evening as well.
That's very mean. That's your colleague.
Oh, is that? Oh God, it's Dr. Rob. Sorry. God,
mean.
The tash.
Mean. Okay, so the next one we have 2 questions from various generations of the Benand family.
2 questions.
2 questions. You see,
right, so the total's out of 84 now. God, we're just throwing the rules to the wind, aren't we, here?
Special night. Special night. So first of the questions, and this is from lovely Benand grandparents, who I have to thank for explaining the rules of rowing to me at a first regatta that I was at years and years ago. So they have a special place in my heart. So just hold on.
Well, thank you very much indeed for entertaining us on Friday evenings up in Birmingham. Looking forward to 8 o'clock, because otherwise there wasn't much to look forward to on those nights. The quizzes have been fantastic. They're fantastic. Here's our question then. Since you're in a pub, one of the problems of our youth was the non-availability of any decent beer. We drank what is Red Barrel, Double Diamond. These are things that we can easily forget. But around the sort of 1980s or so, something better started to appear. One of these beers was called Wadsworth 6X. And the question I have is, what year was 6X first brewed? Was it 1914, 1923, or 1935?
Thank you very much.
So that was, what year was Wadsworth 6X first brewed? 1914, 1923, or 1935? We'll go with 35. And here's the next question from the Benans.
Thank you, Mr. and Mr. Settle, for a fantastic lockdown quiz from the Benans. And here is our question for Mr. Settle.
So our question: which luxury London shop claims to have invented the Scotch egg?
Thank you very much.
So that's which luxury London shop claimed to have invented the Scotch egg?
So that was Mr. and Mrs. Benand being flanked, no, let's say ornamented.
Towered over
by Sydney and Austin as well. So thank you very much. Nice to see you all.
And we'll do question 11, and this is from Louise and Patrick Rapplemore. Well, no, that's not. That's a picture. Their video was so big, I had to save it somewhere else.
Oh, she does tend to go on. So.
Just bear with me. It's getting there. It's highly technical production.
Hi everybody, it's Louise and Patrick, the Rapplemoors, and we just wanted to say an enormous thank you to Keith and to Tam for putting on these fabulous quizzes over the last 3 months. We know there's an awful lot of hard work that has gone into them, and not only that, but they've run them in a brilliant, professional and funny way. So we wanted to say an enormous thank you. And here we have your question 11 for this very special round.
So with the fabulous weather, we thought we should do a question all about holidays. So specifically, this is what we want you to answer. So in 2019, which 10 countries were most visited by British tourists? So we want the list of 10, doesn't matter what order they're in, but the 10 countries most visited in 2019 by British tourists. Good luck with that and have a fantastic summer. Cheers.
Aww.
How you feeling?
Look, I do appreciate it. Thank you very much. I'm not going to well up.
He doesn't do that.
I just don't do that. But obviously, I can't sort of take all the credit for it because I don't, it's not a one-man show, this.
No, we need to get Wilson. We know that's basically why you're here.
Whoa. Mrs. Settle, she helps write the quiz. We come up with all the ideas together. I'm just the
talent.
I'm just the talent that sits in front of the camera. It saves Mrs. Settle having to do her makeup every Friday night, basically. So thank you as well. So I'm sure all the comments will come flying through. It's not just me.
Don't do that.
It's her as well. She helps out. Right. So you are currently thinking of the 10 countries most visited by the Brits. Is that right? Yeah. 10 countries most visited by the Brits. I'm sure Wilson. Is Wilson?
Did you see Wilson in the speech today? Did you note him when he was tiny?
Both the animals got a bit of a cameo part in speech, didn't they?
A little photo.
Yeah. Her photo was in there.
Let me get Wilson. Just for you, Leo. Just hold on 1 second.
Wilson's coming. Give Mrs. S a kiss. What sort of program do you think this is, Mr. Beasley?
We're not doing this.
Blimey, it's not that kind of thing. We love you too, Mr. Beasley. We love you too. Right, here's the big guy. Oh, hold on. He's making.
He's touched himself.
There we go.
Look at the size of the animal.
There he is. All right. He's going to want to wriggle away, but he actually, Leo. So we took him to the vets last week to have his second jabs, and I was convinced, absolutely convinced, that this beautiful cat was going to be it was advertised as half Maine Coon, so they're the really big cats, and half Bengal. Which is a really sort of nice spotty cat, and they're quite unique. Well, not unique, but they're just quite nice cats. Anyway, so the kitten went to have his second jabs last week, and we said to the vet, so is everything normal? I presume he's going to be a big guy, right? Maybe he's half Maine Coon, for Christ's sake. He's going to be big. And the vet just said to me, that cat has got no Maine Coon or Bengal in him. I don't know what you think you got, but there's nothing in him. So I was then hoping that he might have 200 quid sitting inside him, quite frankly, because I'm a bit annoyed we've been sold a dud. But he's very cute nonetheless.
Do you see? There's no emotion there at all. How many weeks with the cat? How much joy have you had from the cat?
Yeah, those who know me know what can happen to Wilson. He might go the way of Meg.
No. Dreadful talk.
Right. Anyway, and the Biziors were delighted to see Wilson as well, and we're delighted that you could join us as well. Okay, we're going to need some answers. We're in danger of running over time here. So before I do go through the answers, obviously, thank you for all the really nice comments, and thank you for the nice feedback. Thank you. There you go. Thank you for coming again and for being here with us at the Viking Arms in episode number 13, the final episode of the term of the year. of the series. There will be more. And
Season 1.
thank you. You know, if you've been with us for the last 13 weeks, it's been a hoot. So thank you so much for making it and for joining in. We hope that you obviously have an awesome summer. Huge commiserations to all the boys who should be winning Henley next week. We really genuinely do feel for you, and obviously we would all love to be at Henley next week, but you know, all I'd say is your time will come, for absolutely sure. Your time will come for those guys. Thanks, as I say, for joining in, and also I think really with these quizzes, just for really sort of showing, you know, we talk a lot about the Shiplake community, and I really think that with everything that we've read and heard about these things, that this quiz, you know, this is Shiplake community at its best. So thank you very much for joining in. So without any further ado, here are the answers.
We didn't rehearse the answers. How are we doing the answers?
You're going to sit there and listen. I'm going to pay for. If it's all right,
Could you possibly?
If it's all right with you, I'm just going to.
It's fine. I still have some Martini left,
okay.
So I will just relax.
Oh God, that's my summer done. Anyway, question 1: the River Thames. The source of the River Thames is in Gloucestershire. The Thames Path is 184 miles long. What is said to be obsolete in 2030 it will be the Thames Barrier. The Millennium Bridge in London was designed by Norman Foster. The poet laureate who married at Shiplake was Alfred Lord Tennyson. The house overlooking the Thames, which was in the Profumo affair, was Cliveden. Which riverside town famously hosted the Huntley and Palmer biscuit factory? That was Reading. The lock separating the tidal from the non-tidal Thames was Teddington. Toad, rat, mole, and badger are all in Wind of the. I'm winding down. It's so late. I'm so late.
We normally are in bed at night.
Is Wind in the Willows. The only suspension bridge across the non-tidal Thames is in Marlow. Now, I know there's going to be controversy over this next one, but these are the answers that we've got. So the 10 towns or cities between Lechlade and Kingston upon Thames are Oxford, Abingdon, Wallingford, Reading, Henley-on-Thames, Marlow, Maidenhead, Windsor, Staines upon Thames.
Who knew?
Walton on Thames, and then you eventually get to Kingston on Thames. Okay, so it's Oxford, Abingdon, Wallingford, Reading, Henley on Thames, Marlow, Maidenhead, Windsor, Staines upon Thames, and Walton upon Thames. Now, if you want to give us any other names, I'm just going to say they're villages, because according to Wikipedia, that's the answer. Where am I? I don't know. Question 1. Where am I? I was at Buckingham Palace for question 1. In question 2, I was at the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Pisa. Why did I say pizza?
Yes.
Pisa. Christ, you'll find me on a beach in Bournemouth next, won't you? I was at the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Question 3 was the Brandenburg Gate. Question 4 was the Giant's Causeway. Question 5 is the Eiffel Tower. Question 6 was the Grand Canyon. Question 7 is the Great Wall of China. Question 8 is the Tower of London. Question 9 was the White House. And question 10 were the White Cliffs of Dover. Now, question 11, the missing place names from these lyrics was, do you know the way to San Jose?
Not Slough.
Not Slough. B was a rainy night in Georgia. C, I left my heart in San Francisco.
I'm helping you.
Are you pointing at me whilst I'm reading that?
It's cute.
I was like, rainy night in Georgia. E, Sweet Home Alabama. No, I missed one else. Viva Las Vegas was part D. E, Sweet Home Alabama. F was Scarborough Fair. G was a New York Minute. H was California Dreaming. I was Kingston Town. And J was Waterloo Sunset. Okay, then we were on to the Great British Summer. I've lost it. There it is. Question 1. How many grass courts are there at Wimbledon? There are 18. Can gentlemen wear brown shoes into the royal enclosure at Ascot? No. The Chelsea Flower Show is held at the Royal Hospital in Chelsea. Question 4, if you're competing at the Thames in the Thames Challenge Cup, there are 8 oarsmen in the boat. It's an 8-oared race. Question 5, the largest regatta of its kind in the world I was after was Cowes Week. Question 6, if you put jam on the scone first, then followed by the cream, you're in Cornwall. The English Country House hosting a music festival since 1934 was Glyndebourne. I've lost the question.
Sport played on Smith's Lawn.
The sport played on Smith's Lawn in Windsor Great Park is polo. The world's oldest open submission exhibition is the Royal Academy Summer Exhibition.
You did that very well.
Thank you so much. Question 10. What links Dolly Parton, Kylie Minogue and Willie Nelson? That is Glastonbury. And in question 11, the last 10 winners of the men's singles championship, I'll give them to you in order. So it goes Novak Djokovic, Roger Federer, Andy Murray, Rafael Nadal, Leighton Hewitt, Goran Ivanisevic, Pete Sampras, Richard Krajicek, Andre Agassi, and Michael Stick. Novak Djokovic, Roger Federer, Andy Murray, Rafael Nadal, Leighton Hewitt, Goran Ivanisevic, Pete Sampras, Richard Krajicek, Andre Agassi, and Michael Stick. For the general knowledge round, now I might forget what the actual questions were, but I can tell you what the answers are. So from Mrs. Young, the answer was, and then there were none. That's the biggest selling Agatha Christie. From Mr. Brown, the number of gold medals won by rowers in the 1908 Olympics was 4.
Good recall.
It's a thing. It's teaching. Can't remember stuff. From the Ashes. So the name of Alexander the Great's horse was Bucephalus, and it was afraid of its own shadow. So it's a point for each thing there. And from Reese, it was what was the name of the landmass when it was just one landmass on Earth, and that was Pangaea. Question 4 was from the Mullet Gang, and that was what dog was Sirius Black? What hound? In Order of the Phoenix. And it was a Scottish deerhound, and that's what they were holding up in front of you on the camera. From the McPhees, the Henley Regatta first started in 1839. From the Coles family, the
vertical rock face.
The vertical rock face that's been in lots of films is El Capitan. From the Beasleys,
John Betjeman wrote the poem about bombs falling on Mr. Beasley's favourite place in the world ever,
Slough, in 1937. From the Coltasses, between which two bridges is HMS Belfast parked? And that's between London Bridge.
Parked?
Moored? Pulled up.
Right.
London Bridge and Tower Bridge. From Dr. Rob, it was which Oscar-winning actor has been in all those films? Sir Anthony Hopkins was the answer there. From the Bonanza Senior, the answer for what was it? Wadworth 6X.
Yep.
That started brewing in 1923, and the original Scotch egg came from. Was that the question?
Which luxury London store claims to have invented
was Fortnum and Mason. Mm-hmm. And from Louise and Patrick, the 10 most visited countries by British tourists are Spain, France, Italy, the USA, Ireland, Portugal, Germany, Netherlands, Poland, and Greece. So Spain, France, Italy, the USA, Ireland, Portugal, Germany, the Netherlands, Poland, and Greece. So whilst you are frantically adding up your scores, hold on, mouse isn't working, there we go. Whilst you're frantically adding up your scores, and before you let us know what you've got, I need to start calling last orders. So between now and whenever we see you next, do obviously look after yourself. Keep looking at the Shiplake Facebook and Twitter, and we'll let you know when the next quizzes are coming up, and hopefully the live version as well won't be too far away. Obviously, we wish you have a fantastic summer. You've got 10 weeks of no school, so enjoy it, get rested, and have a nice time. So here are the scores pouring in. So the Breretons are leading the way now with 58. The Coltises on 53. The Humphreys on 55. Slovakovsky's 56. The Tangs leading on 60, but not for long. The Houghtons are on 67. The Lockwoods 59. The Brentons, hello Mr. and Mrs. Brenton, are on 50. The Bradshaws on 48. The Lewoods on 62. The Mallet Gang are on 40. The Durcoops on 40. The McPhees are on 57. The Kellets are on 56. Thanks, Mr. Beasley. The Weatherstons are on 64. The Beasleys are on 67. So that matches. So the Beasleys and the Houghtons are in the lead at the moment. The Bonans on 56. The Cliffs on 58. Oh, but the Scotchbrooks are sneaking into the lead with 68. Well done.
I can see another
56 from the Mackie Peas. Mrs. Rapple's on 61. The Manly Wars on 65. The Coles Collective are on 68 as well. The Strides are on 62. The Busy Oils on 65. So we've got some brilliant scores coming through. Jeff, no, mates. Jeff, don't say that. Come on, we've had this conversation, Jeff. So it would look like the Banan grandparents are on 49.
There was a message earlier though from Mr. Beasley, and could we just say hello to the Beasley parents who are also watching?
Yeah.
So hello
and
to have them. A lovely summer.
So it looks like the McCarthys have got the worst score ever. Blaming the Pims. It doesn't matter. It's fine. It's all a bit of fun. So I would say that is the Houghtons and the Coles Collective, who are this week's joint winners with a score of 68. Of course, Dr. Tresario, I don't think, has declared
He'll have about 107.
Yeah. So I'm going to say they are the genuine winners this week. And the Shiplake Babes have just declared on 63. Well, that's it, guys. Thank you once again for joining us. We hope you've had a nice time with the Viking Arms. We absolutely love doing this, and we really appreciate our regulars joining in. So do keep in touch with Facebook and Twitter. We will put details of the next quiz on there as soon as we've worked out when we want to do it. And until then, for the last time this term, I think that is the bell ringing. Everybody out. Time to go home. Off you go.